So, Dandavat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas, servitors, devotees at Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math worldwide. Um, Today is Friday, and we're broadcasting on the orders of Srila Bhakti Pawan Janardhan Mahārāj at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhariju, the beautiful Sokalpuri. I have our distinguished panelists here. Let me bring them on. Give me a second. Dandavat Pranam Chinmadev Prabhu.
Dhanyavad, Jairam Prabhu, and all the devotees.
And I see that Syamaji has also just joined us.
Dandavat Prabhu.
Namaskar, Dandavat. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Krishna.
So good to have you. So before we begin, we're going to have our Mangalacharan and then we'll get to our topic for today. So those who can, please join in. Hey, and there is our distinguished panelist, Sripad Arun Krishna Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
So we're doing Mangalacharan, Arun Krishna Prabhu. So Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sacha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Pariyana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam Sacha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Guru Abhishta Sapurakam Guru Ganarashish Sambhushitam Chinta Chinta Samasta Vedanipunam Shri Rupa Panthanugam Govinda Vidam Ujjalam Vartanam Bhaktianvitam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurun Cha Divya Bhagavat Premda Hibij Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandra Vadanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandranandapuram Sadekavarnam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Shri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Maram Vandetam Shubhadam Madeka Sharanam Nasissaram Śrīdharam Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gauriya Gurvanvaye Bhata Bhanuriva Prabhat Gagne Gaura Sankirtanay Mayavadati Mingilodara Udbhritya Jivaniman Krishna Prema Sudabdigahan Sukham Pradat Prabhum Tam Bhaje Namo Gaura Kishoraya Bhaktavadhuta Murtaye Gaurang Padma Bhrangaya Radha Bhava Nishevine Bande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Sharupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudhanidim Gaura Vrajashita Shaira Vaishnavaira Vanda Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premabhyam Vidya Vaishnavam Mancha Kalpataru Bhayascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadanaye Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tushe Nama. So we're continuing with our subjective evolution of consciousness, the play of the sweet absolute by Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Rakṣhak Śrīdhar Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj. And this is the fourth session of Fossilism, Hypnotism, and the Cosmos. And for today, I've kind of chosen the topic as like the title as that there is no real misery except that we have forgotten Krishna, our Lord. So that's what the topic of today is. Given that, especially these times, these are kind of strange and peculiar times that we live in. We have situations and circumstances where people are kind of suffering more than normal. Even youngsters, high school students, and so forth have like dedicated hotlines for mental health problems, and they're ringing off the hook. And there is a high rate of suicide and other things like that. So specifically in like this situation, this statement by Param Guru Mahārāj kind of really stands out. Like there is no real misery except that we have forgotten Kṛṣṇa, our Lord. So let us, if the panel permits, then I'd like to start reading from where we left off. This is chapter 1, and let me hold that out so we can see. This is the one that I'm using.
We can't see you
because of the blur.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's the hardbound, full, sort of like a full size. It's not the small one. It's the full size hardbound. One of the, I guess, the original publications of Subjective Evolution of Consciousness. And this is chapter 1, page 19 is where we pick it up from, page 18 and 19. So I'm just going to read the last part before we go forward, just so that we have continuity from our last session. So Dr. Murphy is asking a question here. He says, I wanted to clarify one point. In Kapila's system of analysis, Sankhya, he says that Pradhan is that unmanifested matter which is eternal. You say that everything is consciousness. Is Pradhan also composed of consciousness? Śrīdhar Mahārāj. Yes. What is material is only the misconception which is the cause of all this material existence. But it also has personality, Devi, the goddess. The world begins within misconception. When you have the proper conception, then you can read Krishna Leela everywhere. Everything will excite you about Vrindavan. You won't see the outward thing if you are relieved from misconception. A madman has a maladjusted brain. He may be in the midst of friends, but he is lost in his madness, his paranoia. When he goes back to his normal position, he finds the same thing. All friends. In the same way, everything is all right. Everything is all right. Only the disease, our misconception, needs to be removed. Dr. Murphy, the disease is our lack of Krishna consciousness? Śrīdhar Mahārāj. Lack of consciousness means misconception, disease. This is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhayam vitya vinibheshatas syad. ईशादपेतस्य विपर्ययो स्मृति तन्मायतो बुद्ध विजेततम भक्त एकैषा गुरुदेवतात्मा. The disease is separate interest. The deviation from our normal spiritual condition, the development of misconception is based on the charm, the prospect of separate interest. That is the root cause of all misunderstanding. So I want to pause here for real quickly and submit to the panel that this verse is really key to understanding the genesis of our suffering or of our problem and why we are stuck over here. Bhayam dvitiya vinibheshata syad ishad apetasya viparyayo asmriti. So when we say viparyayo smriti, it sounds viparyayo smriti. Arun Prabhu, could you please help me? Okay. But let's look at this as is explained by Param Guru Mahārāj. It says bhayam. So bhay essentially means two things. Bhay is of course fear. Bhay is also anxiety. Fear and anxiety. Bhayam dvitiya vinibheshata syad. Dvitiya. This second interest. Dvitiya vinibheshata syad. The second interest has developed. And then it goes further to explain ishad apetasya. Apeta means completely detached from the universal will. We have somehow detached ourselves. So we have somehow started to compete with the universal will. So the individual will is competing with the universal will. How? Ish here means the Lord. Ishad apetasya. So we have this apet because we have separated. And then viparyayo. Viparya means exact opposite of what really things are. Apetyaya means that. Apetyaya means that what actually is the exact opposite thereof. That is the meaning of apetyaya. The ishad apetasya. The moment we, because of our second interest, disalign ourselves from the universal will, exerting our individual will, what happens? Misconception. Apetyaya. Now, how things are, the exact opposite seems true to us. Viparyayo. Then asmriti, we live in forgetfulness. We begin to have this false notion that we are the supreme center. Exact opposite of what really things are. That's how beautifully Bhagavatam explains the genesis and the essence of the problem. Ishadapetasya viparyayo asmriti. So we can go back to Param Guru Mahārāj here. The deviation from our normal spiritual condition, the development of misconception is based on the charm, the prospect of separate interest. That is the root cause of all misunderstanding. the conception of local provincial interest has caused the difference between a proper conception of reality and misconception. We have gone away from the central conception. From universal consciousness, we have come to this provincial plane. And according to the gradation of consciousness in its development from provincial to universal, we may find ourselves in so many different planets or planes of existence. Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, Jana, Mahar, Tapa, Satta. All these different stages of development are involved in this process of provincialism and universalism. But loss of consciousness of the center is the root cause of this entire material existence. See how, just a pause here, how just a slight deviation, it's not that much if you really look. But look at the ramification of that little bit of deviation. We get to live in this illusory environment. Back to Param Guru Maharaj. One who is conscious of the organic whole, on the other hand, is in the most healthy position. That is proper adjustment. And maladjustment is the cause of our present diseased condition. Adjustment is life. It is liberated life. And to be the prey of maladjustment is to approach pain and misery. Everything within the environment is all right. The only difficulty is found in the conception of selfish special interest. Our aversion to the universal interest is the cause of our detachment from the conception of the whole and from happiness and health. We have been deprived of the happiness of our healthy position. And the cause is selfish interest. The absolute autocrat is absolute good. So there is no room for complaint against him. Kṛṣṇa says, Suhridam sarva bhutanam. He is the owner of everything. In comparison, we are nothing. But still, he is our friend. We should not forget that. We are represented in him. Our detachment from him is the cause of all the miseries that we are suffering. We and others like us have lost faith in him. But he is our friend. We are jealous of him and are thinking, I am not the master? Someone else is the master? This is intolerable. No taxation without representation. But our interests are well represented in Kṛṣṇa. He cares about us even more than we can conceive. Why do we forget that? If we only reinstate ourselves in that faith, we will be all right. It is our fault that we are suffering. Otherwise, there is no difference in vision from the universal standpoint. Ishadape tasya. We have turned away from our master. But we should remember that he is our master. He is our well-wisher. He is our guardian. Deviation from that consciousness is misery of an infinite magnitude. Its cause is very subtle and very minute. It is our mentality of separate interest. And as a result, we have been captured by the enemy camp. Patanjali has said that we are moving towards evil
I got it, Prabhu.
Namaskar, Anil ji. Can you hear us, Anil ji?
Hare Krishna, sir. Yes, I was facing some software issue, right? So that's why I joined from the web and then I joined from this one now.
No problem. So good to have you.
Anilji, I have a copy of the book for you.
Thank
So
you.
please come and pick it up. Yeah.
I will come and pick it up. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Patanjali has said we are moving towards evil in an intelligent, organized way. That is not only mad, but wicked. It is worse than mad, according to Patanjali. What will be the relief of a soul in such a deplorable condition? A madman is in possession of everything. He is only out of his mind. His consciousness has to be adjusted properly. Then he will find, oh, everything is all right. Let me go back home. At present, his consciousness is cast aside. He is not at home. His consciousness must be pushed homeward. That is the problem. Our Guru Mahārāj used to say, I don't admit any famine in this world, only that of a lack of Krishna consciousness. Guru Mahārāj is referring to Śrīla Saraswati Thakur. Back to Param Guru Mahārāj. Jagate ek matra hari katha durviksha chhadar kon durviksha nai. Whenever he became excited, he used to use this expression. He would say, from door to door, tell everyone, Krishna is the Supreme. You are all servants of Krishna. Remind everyone of this from door to door. Then they will find, oh, I have everything I need. I am Krishna Das, a servant of Krishna. I must connect with Krishna. That link must be supplied, and then everything will be all right. There is no dearth of anything else. There is no real misery except that we have forgotten Krishna, our Lord. Let me repeat that. There is no real misery except that we have forgotten Krishna, our Lord. That is the only point we must push. This is the universal necessity. I don't admit any necessity besides this. Within this world, there is always a fire burning. But there is no necessity of extinguishing the fire, because we have nothing to do with the world that will be burnt into ashes by the fire. all our inner demands can be met only in connection with Krishna. All other things are unnecessary. They may be burnt into ashes or devoured by flood. We have no real concern with any of those things. Rather, those material attachments are dragging us back toward the wrong thing. And as a result, we can't allow our mind to be attracted to Krishna. The things of this world, our attachments, are all negative. These things are all our enemy. The whole universe may be burnt to ashes, but we will not be affected in any way. The world may be devastated. The earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, everything may vanish. But still, we remain. The soul is eternal. And if we can have a connection with Krishna, the things of this world are all unnecessary for us and for everyone else. Why should we come to live in the mortal world, erroneously identifying ourselves with flesh and blood? We only think that we are being born and dying. But that is a false notion. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hannate hannamane sharire. That's what's said about the soul. A brief pause here. Yes, Arun Krishna Prabhu, please go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just trying to relate to what Param Guru Maharaj is saying, that we are just moving towards evil in an intelligent and organized way. I'm reflecting in my own life. It's such an illusion. And I'm trying to think the life of my grandfather. Limited means, but he was living at a level much higher than me. Much, much higher. And yet, being in the West, being in some position, I'm just so entangled, thinking, these are miseries that my mind has created myself. And thinking, a little more and then I'll be over the hill. A little more. But come on, 1/1000th of what I have, my grandfather had, and he lived a beautiful, wonderful life, helping himself and helping other people. I mean, now in reflection, what I've done is in a very systematic way, I've just degraded and made my life more miserable. Such great wisdom he's trying to remind me, at least.
Well, thank you for sharing, because our minds, and by the way, it's universal, so it's not just your mind. I mean, my mind, and I'm thinking others' minds also, works in a similar fashion. That we create these miseries or these things, and then we just feed on them for no reason. And then we want sympathy, so we try to find others who kind of tend to agree with us, and then we grieve together about the miseries. So like you did a little sort of a confession. I also had that, and then I was getting into my vehicle thinking, oh, miserable. And the radio was on, so one of the stations, and the guy said that, oh, my morning was really bad. I'm like, okay, someone's trying to sympathize with me, And in what way you will laugh? So he says, I'll share with you. Morning, I wake up, and I try to go, and it was just one of those days where mechanical things fail. And then I go, my toothbrush won't work. And then I go, and then my shaver won't work. And then I go, and then my coffee maker won't work. So when I heard up till here, I was like, okay, I got the message. These aren't really problems, and these are like mine. So I switched it off. But the fact being, if you really see the things that he just stated, do they actually need to be mechanized? And my problems were similar. So, like what you're saying is just it's universal. What we make things, we kind of conjure these miseries up, and then we live in them, and then we try to find sympathy, and then we get sucked in more and more and more, rather than trying to really see it from the standpoint of what Param Guru Maharaj is giving us, that there is no real misery except that we have forgotten Krishna, our Lord. So, back to Param Guru Maharaj. Everything is conscious, and when we realize it fully, we shall be fixed in the Swarup Shakti domain in the spiritual world. There, the different living beings may pose as matter, as the Yamuna, as water, as creepers, as trees, but they are all conscious units simply posing in different ways. Dr. Murphy. It is said that when Krishna goes to bathe in the Yamuna, all the waves rush in to embrace Krishna. Dhanyavad Avali. Srila Śrīdhar Mahārāj. Sometimes the stones melt, feeling the imprint of Krishna's lotus feet. Everything is conscious. So it is also in the case of Rahu and Ketu and other planets. Everywhere in the scriptures, the spiritually developed sages are found talking with nature as if they are talking with a person. And it is real. But our consciousness is deviated in ignorance. So, as scientists, you must crush the philosophy of fossilism. Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāj has ordered you to take a strong position in the scientific community in the West and crush fossilism. Why should we accept fossilism? First, there is consciousness. This is Berkeley's theory. Not that mind is in the world, but world is in the mind. Everything is based on consciousness. No conception, nothing remains without consciousness. So ultimately, all undesirable things are only a mental concoction. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivadakacharya or Rastotra Shata Śrīla Bhakti Rakṣhak Śrīdhar Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj ki Jai. So this concludes our Fossilism, Hypnotism and the Cosmos chapter. And I'd like some reflections, but before that, I'm just going to submit to you that from the next session we are getting into the subjective Bhagavad Gita, and which contains the 4 essential verses of the Bhagavad Gita, and Param Guru Maharaj's revelation, the deepest of the deep revelations, at least in my little view that I have come across. Nothing comes close to it. I don't know if anyone else has, but that's just my viewpoint. And after that, we will go to the Gayatri. So those are the two topics or chapters rather that we have to go through. But Fossilism, Hypnotism, and the Cosmos we have completed today in 4 readings. And now I would like to open it to the panel for any reflections, any comments that you'd like to share. Please go ahead.
Prabhuji, what can I say except that being full of gratitude, because what my material mind has been trying to seek, chase, feels fulfilled by what Param Guru Mahārāj is saying. Even though if I'm not understanding it fully, but I know I can reread it again, I can hear it from my Vaishnava, and it will continue to nourish and fulfill not just the query, the need to know, but really to get to the next level of understanding. And with self-understanding, hopefully, I'm absolutely sure I will be able to eventually see my real self. So, and this is great fortune. God knows after how many million births that we have this mercy, and through this connection of Gurudev, we are able to get this divine guidance from Param Vaishnava, that of Param Guru Mahārāj. So I can be only but just be very grateful for his mercy.
Jai, Jai, Śrīpad Kṛṣṇa Prabhu ki Jai. Chinmoy Dev Prabhu.
Well, as you were mentioning in the beginning, many people are having difficulties in this times. And this sloka that he mentions, the Śrīdhar mentions in the beginning, is the clear explanation why. In another book, I think in the Sermons Regarding Devotion, he describes as people this misconception that I am the body. And so now this virus has come, and I'm not going to my nightclub. I'm not going to my bar. I'm not going to my movie. I'm not going to my work. I'm not going to my school. Who am I? These are all like bodily identifications, and that is being challenged now. And so, yeah, people are going to have a difficult time unless they have this type of transcendental knowledge. So we can even say that, as Guru Mahārāj is saying, the environment's all friendly. This, what is coming to us is trying to help us to realize that. We shouldn't identify with these outwardly markers to say who we are, to identify, this is the person that I am.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Chinmoy Dev Prabhu. Like I say, yourself, your divine self, and Śrīpad Kṛṣṇa Prabhu are panelists. Without you guys, this would not be complete. And yes, Anilji, please go ahead. You're muted though.
Just one point, right? Still, it's always very hard to believe and always hard to get yourself convinced with the fact, right? The last notion which was in this discussion is that actually the mind is not in the word, but word is in the mind, right? So the logical thinking, right, which is we are born with, right? That is the blocker. I mean, it always says, how can a word exist in a mind? Because if you say it is yes, then that means that the word itself is nothing, right? It's just a mirage, right? That means the way we are talking, right? Like my mind is talking, I am understanding something, right, from you guys. How that logical explanation doesn't explain it. That if anything, if all those physical things are a projection by the mind, right, then how we are interacting, right? So there is where all these arguments comes, and then there is that is the bar which we have to cross. Then only I think maybe I can understand But right now, that thinking of in a logical way, it is very hard to adopt to that notion which says that actually you're right, because the whole world is in mind and it is not the actually reverse way the way it appears to be. So that's my thought, right? I'm
No, that's a genuine and I appreciate, Anilji, that in fact I feel personally that we should have more of your company. For some reason we lose you for a long time and then you reappear. But just my little thing is that if you're around more, we will benefit. We will really benefit from your divine, insightful, even questions. Because remember, it's an equation. One side is a question, the other side is the answer. Both are equally important. So it's not only just like, okay, you have all answers, but if someone has the questions, the real questions, that is equally important. And your questions are so wonderful and so deep, and they have this sincerity about them, that you're asking from your heart. You're not simply making things up and just saying it for the sake of saying it. However, if I would point you, like, to begin again, this is, like you said, it's a mammoth task, and all of us are in it together, like how we're interacting. So you have to understand that what you're projecting and what your mind is projecting, your mind is not the only mind that is working in that fashion. Remember, let's say, for example, one person has turned his back to Kṛṣṇa, and then they have become competitive, and then they want to enjoy. They have developed this separate interest, and they came to this plane of exploitation, this plane of darkness. Now remember, they're not alone. Right? There's so many others right now just on this planet, let alone all. I'm not even talking of the multiverse. Just this planet, if you see, there's over 7 billion souls, and most of them are seeking what? They are all seeking their separate interests. Plainly said, I don't mean any offense to anyone, but that's what it is. So now when we interact, like I was saying, now I'm in my my mind, I was thinking, oh, I haven't done this, my business and that's suffering, this is suffering, what do I do? And then I hear the radio, the guy's just giving these frivolous things, and I sympathize with them, but then somehow this thought comes in by some higher grace that just see what your problems are. And then factually, one by one, when I see they're actually nothing. Just like the guy goes, oh, my shaver won't, my toothbrush, so I can't brush my teeth, and then I can't make coffee for myself, and so on and so forth. And all these things can be done without this mechanical interventions, or inventions. But we have put ourselves in this organized way, marching away from the center, all of us together, hand in hand, agreeing with each other, sympathizing with each other, creating this reality, and identifying with it more and more, which is false, which is exact opposite of what reality is. So here in misconception, what we see is this dreamlike reality which all of us have created, and with some help from Mahavishnu, he has put us in this universal dream that we are all living. So it's just your dream, but your dream is being helped, because your dream by your own power is not enough. And then you need the Lord. So now he can't, because you're competing with him, so he can't like make himself known. So without that, he hides as an hypnotist, and then he makes you believe what you want to see, what I want to see, what everyone else want to see. And we're all so close in what we want to see. Now the reality becomes tangible. This false reality becomes tangible. Why? Because I see it, you see it, and then we corroborate. Right?
Right, sir.
So then it becomes more tangible, more real. Now you don't question it, you live it. So for example, what is success? Success is your bank balance. Success is for a company is its market cap, for example. Again, like I'm saying these things, they come to my mind. Why? Because there are people, well-placed people who think the same way. And you won't challenge it. Why? Because this is the norm now. Now, if you challenge what I say, then you'll be challenging the norm of this phantasmagoria. So you won't do it, so you'll conform to it. Like I do, like everyone else does. So what is illusory now is now 100% tangible. Now, you and I both agree on what is success.
Prabhuji, we are getting that tick-tick sound again, so...
Is it a lot?
Yeah. No, just intermittently it is coming, so you can reposition the cable.
Well, today I have the cable completely separate. So if that's the case, then there is a problem with the contraption. I'll have to take it back.
Well, only sometimes it is there, so otherwise, yeah. Sorry for interrupting, yeah. If I may also add one more thing, it's interesting, as Anilji says, how can we understand this? This world is being projected through my mind. It is so difficult for us to understand. But when I think about, when I ask the question to myself, what is the nature of Chetana, consciousness? Then you understand your own Chetana, your own consciousness is 1,000,000 times more powerful than you can even imagine, because it is auto-recognizing. Chetana, without any body or anything, without mind, if you think about it, it is the consciousness that has that intrinsic property of being aware, and we don't know where that instrument of awareness is coming. But the Chetana, the consciousness, knows. It is by itself. That is 1,000,000 times more powerful than you think about it by our own mind and all the data points that we have gathered through our experiences or organs to come up with our worldview of this is what the material world is. So I can make a system out of it, but this Chetana, it does not fit into the system because it is 1,000,000 times more complex and more powerful than this micro intelligence that we have set up in our mind. So to me, when I ask myself this question of what is the Chetana through which I am able to interact, something that is capable of knowing, identifying, I'm happy or not, I'm wanting to entangle with this or that. It is, when I think about that, then I think there's this limitation that I have of my mind is really a small limitation for sure. And then I ponder on the question of, so through the Chetana, how is the mind projecting the world? One can start to see some light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not saying I'm seeing it, but at least it gives me a direction there.
Jai.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
I want to thank the panel for a beautiful discussion. And with that, looking at our time factor, I'll be getting the elite Kirtan group here together so we can chant the Lord's name and sing Hari Haraya, and then we'll wrap up. And then I think tomorrow is Saturday. Do you have any specifics for tomorrow's Chinmoy Prabhu?
We're postponing till next Saturday. But next Saturday will be a video of Śrīdhar Mahārāj.
So Chinmoy Prabhu, just so for everyone's information, when he broadcasts on the Seva Ashram and simultaneously on Bhagavad Gita also. So either channel you can tune into, and then you'll be able to access. And all of his, they're all, I think he has created a YouTube channel as well that he can share on. He's shared it before, but he can, again, kind of share it on either Facebook or on the meeting, however. But that's actually a good repository to kind of go through, because he's worked really hard on the shlokas and doing the what do you call those? The subtitles. The subtitles are really, really important, because sometimes the thing is so fast that we can't really understand. But he has painstakingly done that. So I would recommend. I try and see all of them. I haven't seen all of them, but they're just out of this world. So please don't miss that for anything. Let's get the Kirtan team. Please give me a moment.
That's good.
Transition over there.
Bhaja Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Bhaja Shri
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Raghunath.
Ichhai Gosai Kori Charana Vandan.
Ekha Gosai Kori Charana Vandan.
Jaha hoite Vignana Shabishta Puran.
Hoite Vignana Krishna Puran.
Ichhai Gosai Jar Muita Radas.
Ekha Gosai Janu Saradas.
Kansabara Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Tandera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sane Bas. Janame Mora Ei Abhilash.
Janame Mora Ei Abhilash.
Ichhai Gosai Jalita Kulabas.
Ichhai Gosai Jalita Kulabas.
Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korila Prakash.
Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Prakash.
Anand Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan.
Anand Bolo Hari Vrindavan.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas.
Hari Naam Sankirtana ko hai Narottama Das.
Hari Naam Sankirtana ko hai Narottama Das.
Hriharaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hriharaya Namah Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Kṛṣṇaya Namaha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar.
Joy. All right. Anyone for Jai Dhwani? Okay, Anika ji, take it away.
Jai Sapika Shri Shri Guru Ganga Gandhavar Govinda Shindar Giridhari Gopi Laju Ki Jai. Jai. Jai Om Shnupat Pramhangsha Purchikara Varyasta Kadasata Shri Shumad Bhakti Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj Ki Jai.
Joy.
Om Shnupat Pramhangsha Purchikara Varyasta Kadasata Shri Bhakti Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj Ki Jai.
Joy.
Jai Om Shnupat Purchikara Varyasta Kadasata Shri Shumad Bhakti Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj.
Joy.
Jai Om Śrīla Krishna Das Ji Mahārāj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vasudha Satyananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Krishna Das Ji Mahārāj Ki Jai. Shri Guru Durga Ki Jai. Hari Das Thakur Ki Jai. Ki Jai. Shri Baladeva Vidyabhushan
Joy.
Shri Vishwanath Karnataka Blue Ki Jai.
Joy.
Shri Nortam Samanda Shri Vaishnav Charpu Ki Jai. Shri Ravindra Bandha Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Kavraj Ki Jai. Sarprasada Shri Nityananda Ki Jai. Sarprasada Shri Mahārāj Ki Jai. Yeah, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Chamakunda Radhakunda Giridhari Govardhan Ki Jai. Jai. Shri Vigna Vinashaya Shri Krishna Ki Jai. Jai. Bhakta Padma Mahārāj Ki Jai. Jai. Mahārāj Ki Jai. Vaishnav Raja Sadak Ki Jai. Vishwabha Vedata Ki Jai. Sridhar Mayapur Ki Jai. Sridhar Robert Ki Jai. Hindustan Dham Ki Jai. Ki Jai. Sri Govinda Kunda Ki Jai. Sri Shri Shiva Gungradev Ki Jai. Sri Veda Vaishnava Mandu Ki Jai. Sri Krishna Ki Jai. Sri Jai.
Hari Hari Bol. Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Brind ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Sannasi Brind ki Jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. All the devotees who are watching and who are not watching, everyone ki jai. Our divine panelists, Shripad Arun Krishna Prabhu and Shripad Chinmayadev Prabhu ki jai. Anil ji ki jai. Preeti Bikram ji and Anika ji ki jai. Nandanani Didi ki jai. Syama ji ki jai and Sangeeta ji ki jai. Elite Kirtan team ki jai. Abha ji ki jai. Go Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.